Presidency rallies behind the Tigress ahead of FIBA World Cup.
NIMET warns of impending flooding in 12 states.
Northwest governors demand people-focused constitutional reforms.
And on Good Morning Nigeria, today we shall focus on Nigeria's first policy.
The Nigerian government is making a very clear statement, and that's with the new Nigeria First policy. So, if it's made in Nigeria and meets the need, then it should be the first choice, especially for public procurement purposes.
Well said. Now, this policy introduced under President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda directs governments, ministries and agencies to prioritize locally produced goods and services over imported ones. It's a renewed push to build a local capacity, reduce reliance on foreign products and give Nigerian businesses the support they deserve.
Absolutely. And this time around, the policy comes with some teeth to bite. No government agency will be allowed to procure foreign goods or services without a written waiver.
I like that teeth to bite. Great one. Procurement guidelines are being reviewed. The register of local manufacturers is being maintained, and MDAs are expected to align their practices accordingly.
And it's not just you buying made in Nigeria products or even patronizing our services. The policy goes beyond that to focus also on skills, technology transfer, job creation, and building strong value chains across sectors, from the construction sector to ICT, agriculture, and manufacturing.
Still, good policies need good follow-through. Nigeria has seen its fair share of great ideas that never moved beyond paper. For this to work, concerned persons insist public officials must lead by example, teaching important preferences and actively supporting local alternatives.
So, as always, implementation has always been the problem. So if this policy is enforced properly and embraced at all levels by all Nigerians, it could finally set the country on a sustainable path towards economic independence and, of course, boost our national pride. Again, turning a familiar promise into real practical progress.
And that's our first issue on today's program. We'll also take a look at how a stress-free transport system can be built in Lagos State. This is our outlook on the program today. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Henry John. Just before Claire introduces herself, Claire, I'm sure you remember last week I talked about, or rather we both talked about joining
yes, the
football club.
Yes, the Falconets.
Yes, exactly. You know, seeing what played out yesterday with the basketballers, specifically the Tigress.
The Tigress.
I just give up on whether football or basketball, because it just looks like it's going to go around somehow. So maybe if I stay focused on this job, it's going to come to me too.
It's going to come to you. Know, the thing is that really, I've really not been a crazy fan of basketball. I've never, attempted that, but I didn't watch. But the fact that they won, and defeated Mali, I hear Mali and Senegal are very strong teams to beat. In fact, the rating, of course, Nigeria had won before, but it was a tight competition. And for the D Tigers to retain, the championship for the fifth consecutive time.
With a female coach.
Yes, with a
Nigerian
coach. I think that's outstanding, and it's good that the presidency. And when I say the presidency, I mean specifically Mr. President and the First Lady. The support and encouragement that they're showing is a morale booster, and I only hope that it could also be extended to us here.
Of course. That's my belief.
So please look
I
at
trust
us
it's going to
also.
come to
All
me
right.
soon.
I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. Once again, thank you for joining us this Tuesday morning. It's quite calm. It's breezy though, but it's a fine weather for all of us here in Abuja. And you're watching us on the network service of the NTA. Sawa Khalid Ibrahim is itching to say a word or two before she gets on with the news. Sawa, are you also interested in joining the basketball team or the football team?
Trust me, Claire, I could be very good at football. So we can have a team. We are all female after all. So good morning. Here is the news. The presidency has promised adequate support and preparation for the female basketball national team, the Tigers, ahead of the FIBA Women's World Cup next year. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented President Bola Tinubu, gave the assurance at the presidential reception for the 2025 Women's Afro-Basket Champions.
The Commission's renewed focus on athlete welfare, institutional reform, grassroots support, and performance-based development is already yielding results. Let this be a signal that we are on the right path. I'm very proud of you. You have made us proud, and we will stand by you as you prepare for the global stage.
And the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has congratulated the nation's female basketball team, the Tigers, for winning the FIBA 2025 Women's Afro-Basket competition. In a statement, Akpabio said the feat achieved by the Tigers has shown that Nigerian women are pace-setters and capable of undertaking any task. He celebrated the Tigers for sustaining the Nigerian spirit of discipline, determination, and the quest for excellence, noting that the fifth consecutive title have reinforced the zeal for hard work and the relentless crave for success. Similarly, House of Representatives Speaker Abbas Tajuddin has hailed Nigeria's women's basketball team, the Tigers, for beating Mali at the final of the 2025 FIBA Women's Afro-Basket, winning the trophy for a record seventh time. Speaker Abbas commended the female basketball team for making Nigeria proud, saying the victory marks another joyful moment for Nigerians home and abroad, especially as the women national football team, the Super Falcons, recently won the 10th WAFCON, while noting that the Tigers have further proven that women have the capability and the courage to cause positive changes to Nigeria. The speaker says he is now more emboldened to continue with his campaign for gender equality, especially women's inclusion in politics and governance. Meanwhile, aligning regional priorities for a people-centered constitution is the recommendation for the various geopolitical zones of the country in anticipation of the draft of a new constitution. The Northwest Governors Forum is in support of this position at the Constitutional Review Consultative Meeting held in Abuja. In line with the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Femi Oluyode's philosophy that centers on transforming the Nigerian Army into a well-motivated, combat-ready force, the Post-Service Housing Development Scheme is upscaling the provision of affordable accommodation for retired Army personnel across the country. The Managing Director of the Nigerian Army Post Housing Development, Major General Ishaya Allison, stated this during the maiden interaction with defense correspondents. The Managing Director stressed, will boost troops' morale while serving members of the public will also benefit from some of the packages under the housing arrangements. The federal government has addressed concerns about the possible halt in funding for road infrastructure project under the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited tax credit scheme, providing much-needed clarity on the matter. And the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has advised communities residing in flood-prone areas to evacuate as the country approaches the peak of the raining season. In a statement, the agency said that expected intense rainfall will increase moisture and raise river levels, significantly heightening the risk of flash and riverine flooding. It predicts that 12 states, Sokoto, Zamfara, Jigawa, Katsina, Yobe, Borno, Kebbi, Kano, Bauchi, and Gombe will experience more intense rainfall in the coming days. However, NIMET noted that the southwestern parts of the country will experience a dry spell known as the August break, which may last for several days without rain. The Emergency Management Agency is therefore advised to remain on alert. That's the news highlight. Good Morning Nigerian continues with Claire Anyeri after this message. Stay with us.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear in colors, with undying demand, we make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Diversity is unique, we have more than just a nation.
We are Nigeria, strengthening unity, we know they carry life. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Introducing the new Jig Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just jig it with Jig Sachet.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
What food do you need?
Guys, food is ready.
Cook to impress.
Nivea Black and White Deodorant, now with 72-hour protection. But what does that mean? 3 cities in 3 days and no fear of sweat and odor. 120 dances with skin as smooth as the moves. Sweat, stain and odor protection. Nivea Black and White Deodorant. Skin is for embracing life. Nivea is for skin.
Confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth can help, even if they get her into trouble sometimes. A great smile is useful to break the ice, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent Triple Protection 123. Its antibacterial action formula gives them cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent Triple Protection 123.
TerraCube. Unwrap joy. Unleash taste.
Toilets have stains which bleach cannot clean effectively. But Harpic is thicker and sticks better, which gives 10x better cleaning versus bleach and kills germs.
Oh, wow.
You can now see that Harpic is better than bleach.
Mamalicious bomb. Maliciously good. Maliciously good.
Maliciously good.
All right, welcome back, and you're watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service. In a moment, we'll be taking the newspaper review.
All right, let me warmly again introduce Chukwudi Okoli Ogbaja, a newspaper reviewer. Good to see you again, Chukwudi. Good morning to you.
You know, I hope the director didn't catch me laughing almost maniacally. You know, I have this way of laughing like Roman gods in those days in amphitheater. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm happy to see you too. Morning.
Anyway, I still up. So let's quickly look at the People's Daily so that we can catch up with the time. People's Daily is reporting, of course, on the front page as expected. Tinubu rewards the Tigers with national honor, cash, and housing. And it also has on it just a bit below the nameplate, retired military personnel protest at Ministry of Finance over unpaid entitlements. And flood, Niger government issues fresh warning to communities. Just a bit below the picture story, Zamfara bandits kidnap 114 in 3 local government areas in fresh attacks. This is according to residents. And there are also trending stories just at the foot of the paper. This one says, parents tell youths to desist from taking risks for politicians. 1 person killed in community land dispute, and other stories there. I think, Ira, you have other papers.
All right, let's see the Daily Trust quickly. Daily Trust leads with this story on education, not a good one. WAEC records worst results in 5 years. The writer, parents, others blame CBT for poor performance. Details on pages 3 and 4. Above that, of course, the reward to the Tigers is also right here. Away from that, residents, military stranded as flood hits Lagos. That's on page 12. Ex-soldiers protest over unpaid entitlements. That's on page 7. And below the picture stories we have right here. Bandits raid Zamfara villages, abduct 24-day-old baby stolen from Ekiti Hospital. That's on page 21. Troops kill 17 Boko Haram terrorists in Borno. That's on page 10. And Ojulari surfaces at public function. That's on page 8. Let's see quickly what the blueprint is offering this morning. Of course, FIBA Women's Afro Basket leads the pack here, talking about the benefits, or if you like, the reward they got from the president yesterday. And above that, we have 4 suspects nabbed over missing newborn baby in Ekiti Hospital. That seems to be on all the papers this morning, and of course, that's a cause for concern. Below the picture story, the thunderstorm in Lagos, NIMET predicts thunderstorms in 10 states, panic in Lagos over persistent rainfall. And finally, at the bottom of the front page of the blueprint, over our borders transformed to strongholds against human trafficking. That's according to the National Orientation Agency. All right, Chukudi.
Where is my brother? Yesterday he said Lagos practically has no rains anymore. So what are they talking about when they say panic in Lagos over persistent rainfall? Well, the elements change within a few hours.
Yes,
I'm sure that when he was in Lagos, there was no rain really.
NIMET is also predicting
thunderstorms
in 10 states.
Anybody can predict that at this time, can't they?
You know, and yes, but let's quickly look at you know, the WAEC records was results in 5 years, and parents others blame CBT for poor performance. And if we recall, Chukwudi, you know, the issue with JAM, it's also all about CBT, you know, and hiking or whatever mouthfuls and all that. So I'm not really, you know, sure what parents are really saying.
Parents are blaming the computer-based test.
And of course, I'm sure you remember during the exams, there were reports that some centers wrote exams late at night, some computers were not working, some students didn't, you know, I mean, a lot of issues during the exams.
Yeah, Ray, you would always argue for young people because you're closer to them in age than I am. It's okay. We should not vilify our young people. But the examination body is saying that the CBT is actually helping them reduce exam malpractices, and you now know who really has something in their head. You know, it reminds me of the day that
but it should be done neatly. It shouldn't be...
People at law school performed terribly, awfully. They did not do well at all. You know what Newswatch or Tell magazine made the headlines? Wig on empty heads. That was way back. I hope none of you is
CBT may stop exam malpractice, you know? But of course it can destabilize students if it is not done properly. For example, you have a paper for 2 p.m. and say by 4 or 5, you've not yet started. That could destabilize any student who is ready for that paper. And then maybe you get into the hall, you're rushed, and then maybe the time allotted, you know, you don't get to finish because everywhere is dark and there's no light and all of that. All of this can affect performance.
I do not contest what inappropriate venues could do to one's psychological inclination. But I do ask from time to time, do these boys and girls really know what we knew in our time? When one person could read out 2 pages of Shakespeare, oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth. That I am meek and gentle with this
Shakespearean language.
Yeah, in Shakespearean language.
You need to translate.
Are the students to blame? Are the students to blame?
Hold on.
She's got another one.
No, because, I mean...
my problem with ERA is, catch me for leg, you hold on for leg, you say, no, that throat I talk.
You know, Chukwudi, you're absolutely right. And ERA is also on point. Look, the CBT has helped. The advantages of a computer-based test. I mean, it's going to be applied now, even in all civil service, you know, procedures, which is good. I mean, we're moving with the times. We talk about evolving with technology. That is good. But also, the school authorities must also take cognizance of the, you know, of the glitches or the challenges, the issues that come with the CBT, and gradually find ways of addressing.
So we don't unfairly.
Exactly.
She has a point.
You understand. So I think that's.
But I'm also of the view that our children are not working as hard as we did in those days.
Are the teachers teaching as hard as they did in those days?
You might find out that all these things we are complaining about have the same source. Are the hospitals as equipped as they were some 3 years ago? I want to stop there because I have a grouse with,
yes,
with that.
Let
things have gone generally down. We need to up the game in all sectors of our life.
Let's look at another one. Ex-soldiers protest over unpaid entitlements. I mean, we're getting to see more of X this, X that, you know, having to go
you see, to the you're taking it from my lips again. What was the last thing I said? I said life has declined in almost all facets of it. We're going down, whether morally or whatever. I read a piece there, you didn't read it. Yahoo boy crashes car into a dome market and all that. What is the quality or what is the integrity of people we have bring up these days. And they're going to tell you, why would you accuse me of not showing enough integrity? What am I taking from the environment to reinforce what nature had endowed me with in terms of moving towards goodness? So everybody has a complaint. But at the gate of heaven or hell, you're not going to tell God that, now my mama I make me concede where they go hell now. So you have to. It's every man for himself. And the devil take the hindmost.
What do you make precisely? Last time we heard about nurses. We saw ex-policemen. Now it's ex-soldiers. And given, the role that our military men, play in national security.
Yes.
What do you think about these ex-soldiers protesting? In 60 seconds, if you may.
Yeah, quickly. Soldiers, I have a particular passion for soldiers. It's not because my younger brother, Captain Ifeanyi Baja, well, God rest his soul, was in the army. There's something noble, extra noble. A man who volunteers to die for you is a noble man. He submits his life without you asking. Some people say they're not, they pay them. So after active service, I also expect us to respect that noble disposition they have shown the country. I feel bad when I hear that soldiers, policemen, no, it shouldn't be that way. Nobody's inferior to the other person. About nurses, I said just last week that somebody told me a doctor comes out with his expert eyes, says, do this, do this, do this. But the person that handles the real toil in the ward is the nurse. They too should be handled, fairly.
Thank God you ended with the nurse. I just hope this one-day baby that was stolen in Ekiti is found and returned to the mother. Not a good story at all. Chukwudi, we need to go. The producer says it's time, for us to, move on to our first discussion of the day. Many thanks.
Enjoy the rest of Good Morning Nigeria.
Many thanks for sharing your time with us, Claire. All right, so we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into our first conversation. Stay with us.
I am pleased to announce encouraging news from the National Bureau of Statistics, which released the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, for April 2025 only yesterday. According to the report, the headline inflation rate for April stood at 23.71%, this represents a decrease of 0.52% from the 24.23% recorded in March 2025. Similarly, month-on-month inflation dropped by a notable 2.04% from 3.90% in March to 1.86% in April. This, of course, did not just happen by chance. The president is focused and is determined, and his determination and his interventions are clearly paying off. The benefits of reform, though gradual, are real and measurable.
Introducing the new Jig Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just jig it with Jig Sachet.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. 1 cube, endless possibilities.
My people, toilets have stains which bleach cannot clean effectively. But Harpic is thicker and sticks better, which gives 10x better cleaning versus bleach and kills germs.
Oh, wow.
You can now see that Harpic is better than
Eligible candidates can turn their passion for broadcasting into profession by applying to NTA Television College, Rayfield Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Admission for 2025-2026 academic session for a BSc degree in Mass Communication and Diploma in Film and Television Production, Broadcast Journalism and Television Engineering. Entry, JAM admissible score not less than 180 and 100 respectively. NTA Television College as a training hub runs specialized courses in media-related area and other professional fields. For more information, log on to our website at www.ntatvc.edu.ng. Announcer Management.
We're not in a romantic relationship, we're in a dash.
Brotherly relationship.
Friends with benefits.
Yeah, very bad boy.
No. Family relationship.
Who be your family?
Situationship.
Are you in a situationship?
It is well.
Survey says... Hey!
Onenge is my girlfriend.
You want dodge? Thank God. Say I hacked. An oversized shirt is okay to wear, but an oversized dash isn't.
Skirt.
Bra.
Shop. Wow.
Pants. Whoa. Name something you add to your text to make them more interesting.
Emojis.
Stickers, pictures. The way my back at the breathing, at the yara.
Gifts.
Survey says.
My birthday.
All right, let's get the business started. And good morning, Nigeria. Thank you if you've just tuned in, and it's on the network service. Just a reminder, did you know that soon everything that you do, you buy, services, whatever, would have to be first Nigerian? If it's not, then I don't know what will happen. But if you stay tuned to our conversation, you will get to find out the details of the Nigeria's first policy implementation, and of course what you need to know. Let's take this background report before we bring in our guests.
The Nigeria First policy is a fresh move by the federal government, championed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. It's all about putting Nigerian-made goods and services at the heart of national procurement. The big idea is to reduce the appetite of Nigerians for imports and shine the spotlight on what Nigeria can proudly produce at home. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board is leading the charge in making sure this vision becomes a reality. At its core, this policy is pushing for less dependence on foreign products. It's a clear call to action, build from within, rely on what Nigeria has, and boost the economy through local content. And it doesn't stop with oil and gas. From construction to ICT, agriculture to manufacturing, the aim is to encourage homegrown solutions across every sector. On the 5th of May 2025, the Federal Executive Council gave the green light to the Nigeria First policy, referred to simply as the policy. In this document, the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation was tasked with preparing an executive order to back it up. It's a firm declaration. Government ministries, departments, and agencies are now banned from buying foreign goods or services if local alternatives exist. This marks a stronger, more enforceable turn towards economic independence and national pride. While it's not Nigeria's first attempt at promoting local products, this policy is shaping up to be the boldest. It promises more government support for local industries, updated procurement practices in MDAs, a national register of local manufacturers, and even a system of written waivers for foreign procurements where absolutely necessary. It also introduces clear consequences for agencies that don't comply. Plus, there is an eye on using foreign contracts to build local capacity. So, could this be the shot in the arm that Nigerian production needs? Can the prices of everyday goods reduce after this? Our guest in the studio will be weighing in shortly.
Many thanks to AME for the background report on implementing Nigeria First policy. Now let's get to the conversation. And seated in the studio for our first conversation, of course, which you know is on implementing the Nigeria First policy. Let's introduce the Director General, Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, Dr. Adebowale Adedokun, FCIPS, ACFE. I had to say that. Many thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
All right.
All right, we also have with us Olusoji Akmampa. He's the co-founder, CEO of the Convention on Business Integrity and incoming co-chair, Non-State Actors Open Government Partnership, OGP Nigeria. And we're very glad to welcome him for the first time to Good Morning Nigeria Studios. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, let's open the conversation while we wait, hopefully, for other guests to join us. And I'd like to start with Dr. Adedokun, the DG BPP. First, let's put this whole conversation into context, because when you hear Nigeria First policy, you know, I mean, what is it in practice? What does it mean? Just break it down so we know.
Okay, thank you, Claire. Let me put it this way. We have in every country peculiarities. We have in every country their source of revenue. We have in every country what makes their local economy strive. For instance, you have in Nigeria, you have cottage industries in those days where you make your shoes, and we're exporting. If you go to Jos, Naragota side in Jos Plateau State, you go and buy good canvases in those days. They were competing with Bata of those days. If you go down to the east, you find shirts, trousers being produced. What has happened to them? Because of our tastes, hunger for foreign goods, those industries died. Remember, we had a case of 404 of those days. 504 of those days, Volkswagen of those days. They were all doing well. Our government officials were driving 404 Volkswagen. We see things have changed.
Yes,
and then by that time, our economy was homegrown. We were able to even export knowledge. We had Indians coming to Nigeria because of the kind of the baseline that we had. And those things disappeared. So what we're trying to do, what this policy is to say, let's protect our own local industry, while also giving ourselves the opportunity to compete globally. Nobody wants to continue to use Nokia 3310, for God's sake, while there are recent models. You want to be at par with your global body. The dress I'm wearing is Nigerian made, produced by Nigeria with the best quality in their manufacturing sector. Now, if I help them to promote what I'm wearing, and somebody from the foreign country sees the quality of what I'm wearing and matches it with their guidelines, it's likely to want to also join us. By so doing, I'm increasing the economy, I'm re-engineering source of revenue in our nation. So the Nigerian First policy really is to give a sense of belonging to those ordinary Nigerians who are striving daily to make ends meet.
All right. Many thanks, Dr. Adedokun. You said something, but just before I go to what you said, we have joining us now the Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NOSENI, Mr. Khalid Suleiman Halilu. Many thanks for joining us. We'll get to you shortly. But Dr. Adedokun, all right, Okay, so we'll join Naseni shortly. But Dr. Didokun, when you were speaking, you said that most of the Nigerian factories shut down as a result of our taste for foreign goods. Do you really think that's the only reason why factories shut down? I mean, there are other factors, raw materials, power. I mean, you know some of these issues.
Yeah.
So have we dealt with those issues now that we're talking about Nigeria first?
Okay, so I'll also give you another example. Tata in India. There was a time they were coming to our country, giving us their own products, vehicles, and they were not very good. They were having challenges of power, they were having challenges of corruption, they were having all those things. But you see, the leadership kept an eye on the board. They had a focus to say, despite all of these challenges, let's keep improving while dealing alongside with all these issues of power, all the issues of logistic problem. But today, look at Tata. They have grown, even till today, they still have issues of corruption. They still have issues of power. But as Tata products now become a global brand, the answer is yes. So in our own case, we cannot continue to look at the challenges as a setback from us improving. Now, when we launch this policy, what will happen is that the power sector people will realize that they must provide power. If they have not been doing it, when you see somebody producing materials, consumables, medical equipment, it needs power, they will definitely have to raise the quality. In any case, that's what the President said, that they have to do it. So my job in the bureau is to enforce, put everybody on their toes, to say, Honorable Minister of Power, I have 75,000 local contractors who need power. I have 55,000 service providers who need to supply certain stuff. So I need to get them to realize that the real deal is that Nigerian on the streets.
DJ, thank you. Let's allow you to take a breather.
Thank you.
And then get the perspective of Mr. Kpankpa into this conversation. I mean, it's not the first time Nigeria is introducing, import substitution. I mean, we've heard of import substitution for for some time. Even during the tenure of the, late president, we also had grow, what you eat what you grow. I mean, it's been, on and off policy. So, I mean, what do you make of this renewed executive order on this?
Okay, I think that not wanting to, of course, steal DG's thunder in unpacking what the Nigeria First policy is all about, but I think that this is the first time that it is inclusive of SMEs deliberately, inclusive of women deliberately, inclusive of persons with disability deliberately.
How do you mean?
In terms of ensuring that procurements of a certain level actually is done by them, by companies owned and led by women or SMEs, or that it is done within the community in which it will be consumed. So without getting into the nitty-gritty of how that will be done, on the surface of it, this is the difference with all the things that had gone on before. And yes, there have been challenges, even to the previous attempts. I mean, we've always had local content in the oil and gas, in the oil and gas sector. And we know how people beat it with tokenism. You get a local company to front, and then it appears as though it is really going to the local, but it is not. They've paid the person off. There will be all sorts of issues. The question will be, how prepared is the government, through the BPP, on this occasion, to checkmate those kinds of behaviors that thwarted the previous attempts?
Right. I would also go further because you are of the business integrity and open government partnership Nigeria, I would go further to ask, fair enough, in countries where you have had the first policy, I mean, we know the US is a model now, everybody, but in countries where you have that policy being executed, you also talk about the capacity to do that, to implement that. You talk about even the goods, Do you think that we have that? Do we have the capacity to actually go all the way with our first policy, initiative?
Okay, this is a very touchy subject, particularly with young people, because it's frustrating for young people. They say we don't have experience, so they don't give us work. How will we get experience if we don't have work? What is wrong with these older people? So it is an issue, it's a chicken and egg scenario. And I think in this particular case, they are rolling it out by sector. It's not everywhere. So it is where we already have some comparative advantage that it is beginning from, and which is why I said not wanting to steal the DG's thunder, because I think it's better that the BPP sets out all the parameters of what they're trying to do. But it's really that kind of approach that makes this one appear a lot more credible than some of the previous. Number one, you're not trying to bite off more than you can chew. That if we can do it in this area and this area, let's begin there. And let's do that gradually. Now, at the same time, there is a lot of training going on, even for those who are doing the procurement. And in terms of meeting the criteria for being able to supply or produce, there are actually efforts in place.
Okay.
Yes, to do that. And I just want to correct something. It's not that foreign companies cannot play in Nigeria. No, they're supposed to bring their capacity and partner with local companies to be able to get that capacity to deliver. So it's even a lot more far-reaching.
It's all about Nigerian interests first.
Yes.
All right. Many thanks, Olusoji Apampa. Let's get to the EVC of Naseni now. Mr. Halilu, listening to the DG of the BPP and, of course, reading all about the Nigeria First policy, a lot rests on the shoulders of Naseni. I want to know, at the moment, do you think that your agency has the capacity, to scale up local, technology in whatever field, that would need, some made in Nigerian products?
Well, good morning, and it's good to be with you here today. To your questions, whether Naseni has the capacity, to deliver, on the Nigeria First policy, I think it is good to reflect back at some statistics, not just looking forward, but what we have achieved in the past. Since this administration came into play, we've been focusing on how we can translate from research and development, to actual products. Because in the past, a lot of our research and development ends up on shelves or as prototype. But so far, we have over 40 market-ready products. And in fact, Naseni is opening a showroom as we speak today, where we invite Nigerians, to come and see and experience all these products that we have been working on. And in terms of structure to deliver, government is an enabler, and also not a full-time player when it comes to manufacturing. So today, if you look at Naseni's budget, you find out that 80% of our budget is counterpart funding. And what does that mean? It means that a private sector player has to come, for us to fuse in forces together to be able to deliver products, to Nigerians. Not only that it provides security, but it also brings justification to the fact that what we are producing has a market, and that will strengthen the sustainability, going forward. We've had investment in various sectors, from agriculture, to electronics, and especially renewable. We have one of the biggest industrial park as far as renewable is concerned in Nasarawa State. We're working on our electric vehicles. We have a solar street light factories, and we're doing more and more. Uh, but one thing that I want to highlight key with regards to a policy like this is like my co-speaker mentioned earlier, is the chicken and egg situation. One of the challenges that we face at Naseni is anytime we go to attract funding from international partners, is they tell us one thing: let your country give us support, and we'll come and invest. And we are telling them, why don't you come and invest in my country, and then we give you the necessary, government support. So there's always that chicken and egg situation. But with a policy like Nigeria First policy that clearly says that will patronize made in Nigeria goods, it has solved 80% of this chicken and egg situation. And we have been seeing a lot of, interested parties calling us and reaching out that now we want to produce made in Nigeria products because we know the government, has mentioned a policy that you get a lot of patronage. And I think as government, one of the things that we need to do, we need to really stamp our feet and ensure that this Nigeria First policy is successful, because otherwise it will send the wrong signal to the rest of the world as to how to come and invest in Nigeria.
All right, thank you, EVC, thank you. We'll get back to you. DG, let us understand to whom this policy apply. That's one. And secondly, what would be the role of the BPP in all of this?
Okay, thank you. Let me start with the second question. The role of the BPP is in the center of it all. That is, we are harnessing all sectors. For instance, Naseni has spoken. We have an MOU signed just over a week ago on this policy. What do we mean? We want government agencies to realize that there are already industries in Nigeria. There are businesses, like you rightly said, women, the youth, those with disability, and we have small scale and medium enterprises who have basic qualifications that can do businesses here. We're just simply saying, through our standard bidding documents that we have simplified, you can use that. In it is embedded conditions for preferential procurement, meaning that you must give first option to Nigerian firms in your bidding. If you want to bid, you must clearly state it that where the local capacity exists, patronize them. Where it does not exist, that local company must have a partner, a corresponding partner across the shores of Nigeria, where they will transfer technology, also build capacity, and ensure sustainability. So BPP has to enforce this through the enabling guidelines and framework. And we're also harmonizing. Don't forget, we have the Executive Order 3 and Executive Order 5 and other forms of frameworks, which we're just analyzing. Don't forget, what President said is a kickoff. It's not like as if it is the immediate implement. It's just launching it while we're building up gradually. So I'll pick an example in the auto vehicle industry, for instance, which is fairly developed. What we want to do now is that all government agencies, you must patronize Nigerian-made vehicles. I'm giving them timelines to begin to readjust to the reality that you must buy Nigerian vehicles. But in that Nigerian vehicles, the local manufacturer must ensure that they have standardization. You must have quality assurance. You must have global certification to say what you are producing has met environmental factor, it has complied with social issues, and you are not discriminating against the foreign company. So I picked the auto vehicle industry as a case. So what will I do? Very soon, all government agencies must give us the list of vehicles they have purchased in the last 5 years since COVID. All vehicles. I'm going to give us the list. Let's know how many vehicles you have in your agency. What are their years? So anytime you want to buy vehicles from next year, the rule is that you have to patronize Nigerian-made vehicles. So that's just in one sector.
But how many automobile companies are indigenous, actually indigenous? Do we have enough?
We do. I don't want to be specific so that I don't promote one against the other.
No,
the truth is, we have on our websites, for instance, we have, I think, about 28 or so that Automobile Council has approved. It's not BPP's role to say this company is locally company. There's another agency that does that. All I'm going to receive is that they will stamp on their honor. Because that's not my expert skill.
But you are supposed to verify. BPP is supposed to verify the authenticity.
Yeah, Claire, that's what I'm saying. Once that, I go to the field. In conjunction with them to ascertain that those companies are actually local manufacturers. We'll soon start that. But like I said, it's a gradual...
What will make them local manufacturers? What are those things that you would be looking out for?
So there are criteria sets that they've been given. Just like when you go for a visa interview, they'll give you criteria. So those local manufacturers by this Automobile Council of Nigeria has a set out guidelines. And I can tell you today they've reformed. We had the situation before where all kinds of people get licenses to say they are local manufacturer. In the last few months, it has dropped from about 48. We had 52. All of a sudden now we have just about 28 or so in SKD and CKD. So gradually we are streamlining the abuses and trying to also enforce it through our standard bidding document. You must clearly state that you are this. And in every local business too, we have percentage of Nigerian-owned businesses. I think is it Karma or something? So we have that defined already. So that's where we're heading to. So BPP is just to help Mr. President implement that policy by churning out the policy, and anybody who violates it is also my duty.
You still haven't told us those at this initial implementation stage. Who are those that this first policy now would apply immediately?
Okay. So immediately we're looking at those in the furniture making business, those in supply of basic commodities, those involved in household utensils, vehicle, solar, all those commonly used items that ordinary Nigerians are able to produce easily. And then the threshold, we're also introducing the community, there's what we call community-based procurement that has a threshold where we say all projects below 50 million must be done by the community, within every community. So if you are going to do a borehole, for instance, in Kuje local government, we expect that the contractors who are indigenous in that environment will put themselves together and compete. We don't want an Abuja-based contractor to go to somewhere in Guzo and go and take what ordinary women, ordinary youths, ordinary people with disability can do. So there's a threshold.
All right, many thanks, DG, for the clarity. But I'm thinking, how do you want to ensure quality in all of this?
Okay.
Because, I mean, that will be another issue, or if you like, in the long run, it's going to cause some form of, should I say, corruption or whatever in the system. How do you want to ensure that these locally manufactured products that you are insisting that companies patronize, keep up with quality?
Don't forget, we also have partners in terms of quality assurance, standard organization, Nigeria Industrial Standards. We have regulatory bodies in each of these sectors that these small businesses will be involved in. SMIDAN is there. There are other directorates of employment. There are productivity centers. All these people also have their statutory responsibility. So what BPP will do is to bring all of them on board and ensure that they play their own specific role in their area of expertise, thereby guaranteeing what we want as quality. Then we're going digital. Let me also announce that we are going to use a lot of technology to drive this policy. You see, I feel sad when somebody is traveling from Ikotokpene, for instance, to come and bid for a project in Abuja for something he will risk his life, whereas you can use technology to bid and get it without leaving the shores of his local environment. That will also reduce the issue of corruption. Let me give you an instance. When we use technology, you don't know who is there anymore. The woman we don't have to go physically to an office because he can bid through technology. So it's going to reduce the interface between the bidder or the SME and the implementing agency. So there are stop gaps that will help. However, let's even assume people violate it. Let's even agree that there could be, short changes there and there. It will happen. But what do we need to do? That's why we're working with Federal Ministry of Justice to implement the debarment procedure. Again, it will go live in another few weeks. Once in the bidding document, you deliberately causes Nigerian to lose or the woman to lose that business, the provisions in the debarment procedure will come upon you, and it's administrative. Actions will be taken against such violations.
Digi, I'm just, maybe I should get over to you, Mr. Pampa. I'm just thinking why the Nigeria First policy needs to come in place first for some of these agencies to begin to work, like the Standards Organization of Nigeria, which you mentioned earlier. I mean, that organization is supposed to just work whether there's a Nigeria First policy or not, but we see fake products everywhere in the country, right? So, speak to us really. How do we monitor? Because, the BPP is speaking positively and speaking like, all of this is going to work. It requires collaborative efforts. But how do we monitor to ensure that Nigerians know how to get around things, to ensure that Nigerians keep up with this policy, especially government agencies? How do you think monitoring can be done?
First, perhaps I should mention that I believe it can only work if there is collective action between government, business, and civil society. Collective action even in determining these rules. It should not be done by government alone. That civil society that is anxious to monitor what people are doing in these procurements also is given the platform and the space to be able to do that kind of work and give the feedback. For example, MDAs are fond of calling you like 10 p.m. on a Sunday night to say there's a bid opening on Monday morning. We need somebody. It's tokenism to them. All of that has to stop. We have to have a BPP that is ready to side with civil society, that sort of procurement should be put on hold until the proper process is followed. So giving that kind of room is the beginning of that joint monitoring. Secondly, tracking. In how many cases are we having violations? In how many places are we having compliance? Keeping that data and publishing that data, even if you don't publish the specifics, so you know that you have monitored 2,000, and out of 2,000, you now have, 1,000 violations. And that number is increasing as a percentage of what you're monitoring, then BPP has to know that it's failing. But if through the monitoring you're finding you're reaching 3,000, but the numbers that are failing are reducing, then you know, okay, it's effective. So again, sharing of data, having open data standards, the open opportunity for ordinary people to be able to monitor what is going on. Otherwise, it is impossible for BPP to monitor all of these things without recruiting the public. It has to be there. Then the private sector also must have clear incentives for compliance and also consequences for non-compliance. And the MDAs too must have consequences for non-compliance. And I'm glad that at least on the private sector side, that there will be debarment. If you know how debarment works, at least with multilateral agencies, if you cheat in a World Bank procurement, then it is deemed that you have cheated in an AFDB procurement, in an Asian Development Bank procurement. Everywhere, your name and your business cannot bid again until you go and fix those governance issues that permitted that kind of misbehavior. And if we have the same thing in Nigeria, it would become a driver for better behavior. Now, you said, why don't these agencies just function on their own? You need some kind of blueprint because government has been working in silos. This is the first thing that is going to challenge joined up thinking and together working for different MDAs. Before, it was okay for some to just say, I've done my work. But when your work now affects what BPP's work and affects what a consumer will get, that because of you, consumers are killed because the wrong quality was accepted, because you accepted a bribe to issue a certificate for something that did not meet the safety standards. There should be consequences. So it is this kind of policy that enables that joined up feeding in to it, that it's an opportunity, at least, to get government working in the same direction, such as we have not had before. Which is why at the Open Government Partnership, we're looking at it that, well, we need to get business, government, and civil society working together to try and get the best outcome of this sort of policy.
You know, I'm still trying to, of course, we know what first policy is, but I'm still trying to, understand the rationale and, how it will work for the benefit of Nigerians. And if my understanding is anything to go by, it means that, look, we are trying to reorientate Nigerians, to focus more on what areas we have comparative advantage. And the DG has mentioned a few of those areas. But I'm wondering, these areas, what impact will it really be? Why? Again, automobile would have been an area where you apply first, first policy principle. Technology, infrastructure should be an area where first policy principle should be applied. These are areas that will really affect, Nigerians and then reaping the kind of benefits that we are looking at. But when you say food, I don't understand.
I believe the DG talked about
So let me reassure you again.
Yes.
We are looking at different sectors. I just mentioned automobile, but already in the infrastructure sector, we're also looking at experts, skills, professionals. We should patronize our professionals. If you are going to construct a road, for instance, maybe a 1 kilometer road in a local government, who should you give it to? You should look at local farms that have the basic requisites to build that road. And it's already happening in the works, in the Ministry of Works. I can tell you, for the first time in a long while, a lot of Nigerian engineering firms are doing roads across the nation, Nigerian owned, not foreign, Nigerian owned across the nation. Those data are available. Secondly, is that in the design, if you are trying to build a road, we're also looking at why shouldn't Nigerian professional design? Why must it be foreign? Because this is our nation. They know the terrain. We should give them the first opportunity to give us a design. And also in monitoring. So there are different sectors. It's just I didn't mention, but I've mentioned road as
Some
part
people,
of the...
some people would also say, why not in the health sector? So
Okay,
that
good.
government officials must patronize our own health
again,
institutions.
Because I'm involved in a number of things. If you look at what we're doing today, almost all the tertiary hospital today, all the approvals that have come from us are Nigerian companies who are partnering with global companies to deliver X-ray machines, to deliver all those medical equipment. They are Nigerian firms. Nigerian firms, they are just linking
Nigerian firms fronting for...
No, Nigerian firms. And I'm not joking.
Because...
Okay, so you know why, Claire? I know there's a bit of skepticism in the egg by Nigerian. And he has rightly said, all we need to do as governments is to open up with our colleagues in the civil society to carry out first-hand verification based on data. And that's what BPP is moving towards doing. We're willing to, and we're already doing that, collaborate with the civil society to say, come, let's go to Federal Medical Center, Jadi. If truly they say they are bodies, can we go there and verify with the global standard? I think these things are things we can practically do. Like you said, we can't do, if we achieve 10% in terms of monitoring, we would have upscaled the dividend. And to assure you that right now, since people already know that BPP is going to produce data, I think the contractors themselves are a bit, or the bidders now are becoming a bit circumspect. They are trying now to say, look, if you go this way, you may end up having this negative report. So in all these sectors, things are happening, but we can jointly, like I said, with our partners in the civil society, whistleblowers. The last people I didn't mention is the anti-corruption agency in the country, the ICPC, the EFCC. As I'm talking to you now, on this policy, we have a joint team together, as I'm talking to you now, that once we have the first set of data, we're going there physically. We have 36 offices. ICPC is located on the 36th state of the Federation. EFCC has offices too. So we're saying, can we jointly, with somebody in that local, the chief of that village. So let me give you an instance. We are building the borehole. We expect that the chief of that village, who means well for his citizen, and the contractor comes to say, I'm deploying solar-powered borehole, and this is a contractor. You must verify that the contractor is real. We want you to give us the feedback. If he deploys a solar that is not 10 meters deep, and you sign off that he has done, you have injured or you have been unfair to your community. So there's a joint collaboration between us, BPP, EFCC, ICPC, and even code of conduct.
All right, Digi, you're talking about enforcement and all of that, how you want to ensure that Nigerians stick with this first policy. Don't you think your job would be much easier if those at the top just buy Nigeria? Like Claire was trying to say, have those at the top patronize our local hospitals. Have those at the top drive made in Nigerian cars like you're trying to insist. We're Nigeria. Let's see them leave Nigeria first. It would just be easy to follow. All these theories and enforcement would not, people would just naturally follow.
In the next few, I don't want to give a breaking news.
No,
please give us the breaking news.
I refuse to give you that breaking news because it will no longer be news. Watch out in the next couple of weeks what you will see. Something is about to happen.
So
leading by example. Just watch it.
When is this in force already? This first Nigeria, is it in force already? Have you started implementing, or when are you going to implement?
Okay, so the implementation, President has directed.
Yes.
We are only building up the building blocks. We are building at the same time, we are already asking people to start buying locally made products. In their bidding document, we have insisted you must build it in your standard bidding document already. But like I said, these things don't just, remember it's just end of May. And this is beginning of August. You will give us some credits that we have tried to we're putting, you see, you don't build a house on nothing. You must have some baseline policy, engagement with civil society, engagement with even you, the media. We need to be able to educate, carry out advocacy,
Exactly.
touch the women. I've been talking to the women-owned businesses for the past 2 months.
No, but it's not you that you should be doing the talking. There are agencies. You should go jingle.
I am the enabler.
The messaging,
Clear.
the messaging must the people must identify with the messaging, because right now we're only talking here on NTA. After this session, it ends.
No, sir. No, ma'am. You know why?
Okay.
The committees
Is the
that we're
BPP not
working
doing
with,
too much? I mean, you're
No.
educating, you're monitoring the agencies, you want to carry out, how
then
do you
I
want
should
to?
not do the job. It's as simple as that.
I'm just wondering.
No, but
but we're partnering. On a more serious note, we are decentralizing. But you see, you must start. The lead agency must provide the leadership. So what we're doing now is Naseni is already taking a bit of the responsibility. Notab, on technology acquisition, Notab has a very strong role to play here, because you must verify that this company has received or cleared by Notab to deploy any technology in the country, ensuring that local content. So I think we'll just build up gradually, but let's have the framework properly
All
set
right,
out.
thank you, DG. Let's get to the EVC of Naseni. If that connection is still intact, would like to hear from the EVC. I mean, speak to us. Earlier I made a statement that all these agencies are supposed to just be working. We don't need a policy like this to come in place, for people to get on their toes and begin to work. Now, Naseni, for example, is one agency. Well, some would say the impact has not been really felt. Like in agriculture, for example, we should see Naseni at work there. We should see our smallholder farmers using simple tools developed, at home without having to depend on machineries imported from outside the country. But as we begin to round up the conversation, speak to us really. How do you intend to surmount some of the challenges that you have away from this policy, just so that the agency thrives and Nigeria becomes better for it?
Well, I think we wouldn't dwell too much on challenges, because if you see the way Nasoni is structured, it's an agency that is that push for commercialization. And whenever you talk about pushing for commercialization, you are going to work with entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs see challenges as opportunities. So something like the Nigerian First policy is Christmas Day for us, because it's clearly saying produce it and we're going to, yeah, take it on. Um, you are living in a country with over 200 million people, predicted to be top 3 countries with the highest population in the world in 2050. So this is a no-brainer. You are seeing all the trends happening around the world, from Trump policies, American jobs. So I mean, this is going to happen in Nigeria anyway. So you need to take the first mover advantage, and also ensure that you have your needs and is secured, in different places. And as a government organization, we're not trying to monopolize these industries. You spoke about agriculture. You know, for the first time, we're building the first tissue culture lab in the whole of West Africa. You know, Oftentimes you hear that seeds disappear or this pesticide is no longer working, but we're building a catalog and a library, that ensures that these things are meant for our environment. Today, if you go to Amedi Lafia, one of our institutes, we have locally made greenhouses, and we're expanding this constantly. Even in agricultural machinery, we have what we call things like mini tractors and tools that have been localized to fit our environment. If you go to the farms, for example, you see that one farmer has half a hectare. So if you are going to do mechanization, looking at what has been done in other parts of the world is simply not possible. So we have to localize and we have to domesticate, these technologies, and that's what we've been constantly doing at Naseni. And once we do that, we also need to share the technology so that other people can copy and replicate, because that's what China did. At some point, China was being mocked for copying, the copycat of the world. But today, look at how far they've gone. So, like DG mentioned, there's always a starting point, and what we need, from media houses like you is, to give us that positive vibes, and encourage us, to continue the good work that we have started, and through that, Nigeria will prosper, I believe.
I'm just wondering, thank you for the explanation you've given. I'm just wondering if you're actually doing enough, to align with this policy. Because if you look around, all the contractors we have, the engineering projects we have, are actually driven by, not by indigenous companies, or maybe I should say by few indigenous companies, from road to rail, even in the agricultural sector you're talking about, we are heavily dependent on imported technology and skills. So do you think that you are doing enough to be able to sustain, make this policy work?
Yes, I think we're doing enough, and there's still more to be done. I would like to remind you of a program you covered recently in Borno, that we did National Asset Restoration Program, where Naseni restored almost 1,000 tractors, in the country. I think that's enough to say that we have the skills, to build these things. These tractors, some have been dumped for over 10 years. We moved them with our engineers and we restored them back into use, and now they're in the farms, working. And some of them we have to recalibrate them and adjust them to suit, our environment. Also, we have our mini tractor program, which is a technology transfer signed between Nigeria and Czech Republic, which has been completed. These implements are already in Nigeria, and are being used by our farmers. And constantly we're optimizing them, to ensure that we're making the best use of them, or make them fit for purpose for our environment. So I would say that yes, a lot has been done, and there's still more work that needs to be done. But you're talking about 40 market-ready products in just a year. Of this new, change of direction from just research and development, to actually commercializing and taking products, to Nigerians for them to consume.
Thanks, EVC. Let's get back in the studio. DG, while you were speaking and talking about, insisting on the Nigeria First policy and the fact that the BPP is doing so much, how do you want to speak to us about price? Because, most times when you say made in Nigeria, I'll give a simple example. I remember when they said we must produce what we eat and all, and we started with rice. You know what happened to the price? So, monopoly is likely going to come in. People want to dominate the space, prices will go up. You already talked about how you want to deal with quality, but speak to us about price. Would this really make life better for Nigerians in the long run or in the short term? I don't know. So speak around that.
So in terms of pricing, you see, numbers matters. If we'll expand the opportunities across the country, prices will definitely be dropping. But if we close up, that is, if we restrict it to only few people, then we're wasting our time. So one of the things we're hoping to collaborate is to open up the space, lower some criteria that makes it impossible for Nigerian farms to compete. So we're looking at how to streamline some criteria that just makes it, just merely seeing it, no Nigerian company will win. So we're trying to see how we can reduce the criteria and give more access to Nigerians. So the larger the number is likely to affect the price. Secondly, even in the law, sometimes Nigerian product could be more expensive than the foreign. There's no doubt about that. But the law says for goods, 15%. If the cost of the Nigerian product is higher by 15%, still give it to the Nigerian company. So there's what we call domestic preference. So the law has provided, realizes that it's likely that in some circumstances, some products may be more expensive locally, but that's why it gave you that margin. that if you are competing with the foreign company and your cost is still even 15% for goods above what the other person is paying, and for work 7.5%, please still give it to the Nigerian farm. So this is an incentive for us to make sure we expand. More critical is to ensure we give people information. I think it's critical that people know that there are opportunities and let them try. Where they try and they are denied, then there's a recourse mechanism. I'm looking forward to Nigerian farms bidding. Make efforts. If you have made efforts and somebody denies you, why don't you complain? Let's see whether we will not react to your complaint. So a recourse mechanism to give comfort. Nigerians just simply don't trust that we're going to do what we're saying. So as we build up the trust, gradually we can. So prices will drop because it's local. Don't forget, logistic prices will also be reduced. Look how long it takes us to import, months. If I'm able to produce some of those products here, the turnaround time for delivering on that product will naturally reduce. We're also looking at the procurement cycle. How do we eliminate time wastages in the procurement cycle for these small businesses? It's cumbersome. So we're already streamlining the turnaround time. Like I said earlier on, we're looking at a situation whereby you can bid online for small products. Drop your price. Your price, once your price is fair, you are the best. Instantly, you see outcome instantly. That's where we're heading to, so that you build the confidence of Nigeria that if they bid transparently and they win, they will get it. So,
there's an issue that I really want to raise. I don't know.
Okay.
Because even where you find some of our indigenous contractors that have done, I mean, I've heard and, I've seen some of them who complain of being owed, several months by government. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to, now that you are bringing this policy, will that still be the case? Will indigenous contractors still not suffer the same fate? Because, I mean, I don't know who's going to DG.
All right. I think next time you should also invite finance and budget. But part of the procurement guideline says that funds must be available. Mm. So in this paradigm shifts, I see, I've gone around few countries and I see that if somebody is going to do a project of 30 million, the kind of people we're looking at are people who have low value contracts. We want to strengthen this medium, move 50 million, those kind of a thing. So what we've seen all over is that the paradigm shift is that there must be a commitment by the financial sector to ensure money is there. That conversation is ongoing. Okay. I think we'll test run with a sector of the economy, which I won't mention, to show you that in the practical terms, we want to try it where we make errors. With our partners, we can continue to learn the correction. So for funding, what I assure you in this sector is that I think I have a clear instruction that Mr. President said this money for these small and medium scale enterprises, who are the people who fuel the economy on daily basis, should pay.
Okay, DG, sorry. I think we should, like Yere said, we should even start with textile. Let's start with textile. Let's make it mandatory for every Nigerian to start patronizing Nigerian, fashion industries, textile industries, and let's see how it goes. I think if we start from there, and then let's say, okay, let's patronize our food crops. Let's see how that goes before we even escalate to, the bigger sectors like the automobile, the engineering and all that. But we've got some suggestions and comments coming. Nyeri, do you have some?
Yes, I do.
Okay, please.
All right, I'll just quickly take some. I'll start with the most interesting here. This one says, good morning, discussants and the rest of Nigerians watching. The new Nigeria First policy is a noble one. I wish it had come on board earlier than this, when 109 cars worth 160 million naira was imported by our senators, and 360 cars costing 85 million naira was imported for our House of Reps members. it would have given a big boost to our local car manufacturing companies and to our GDP. However, if the implementation of the policy is not closely and strictly monitored and violators are not adequately punished, it will be meaningless. That's coming from Winfrey Hindcent. Many thanks, all the way from Abakaliki. We have another one from Ota in Ogun State. It's coming from Abiola. It says, how will the government deal with those who export our locally produced goods, such as cassava, tomatoes, grains, amongst others, for more money at the expense of local consumption?
Okay, Nandam Weir from Jos. As a nation, we must believe in our abilities and value our creativity. We are already blessed and should not remain like someone standing at the bank of fresh water, yet crying and dying of thirst. Have a very good morning and God bless Nigeria. God bless you as well. Good morning, presenters and guests. My question is, what specific strategies can the Nigerian government employ to effectively implement a Nigeria First policy, balancing economic nationalism with the need for foreign investment and global cooperation while ensuring that the policy benefits the broader population and not just a select few? This is Minkawe Felix. You didn't tell us where you're writing from. And it's another one, okay? It's speaking to the issue I talked about. Local contractors being owed by government. Some are owed up to 10 months. DG, which one would you take before we call for a break?
Like I said, with respect to payment, as I'm talking to you right now, that's to those contractors. I think I can tell you for sure that a lot of payments are already ongoing to clear the backlog, and more efforts will be put. But like I said, it's going to be a paradigm shift where we now going forward, we must match what we want to award with funding.
So the second question is strategy. What model are you using? Are you using the US model of 50% this, or are you phasing, sectorally? Are you going sector
we are
by
going,
sector?
like you said earlier at the beginning, we're going sectorally. You see, we don't want to go head on in everything. Let's start gradually. Let's learn from what we are doing now. If it's the automobile or the cassava, let's even learn it and build up our literature. You see, one thing that is missing is our inability to have proper recording and literature to back up our actions.
Right,
so we'll learn and we move on.
Many thanks, Digi. We do not have enough time. We'll get into our second conversation, but we do appreciate all that you have said. And we are waiting for the breaking news. We hope that it breaks very soon. So we'll get your final comments from Olusoji Apampa. Your final words as we wrap up the conversation.
My final comment is my observation as to why is this policy coming now. 2027 is a major factor. Any president who's looking for re-election and is looking to endear himself or herself to the people at the grassroots will try to move the impact of public spending as close as possible to the people. That's what I'm seeing.
So this policy
in this, oh yes, so long as it is properly delivered, then it will deliver a dividend. Let's look at NEL Fund. The students are beginning to rejoice.
All right. We really,
yes.
I wish we could give more time to this, because there are also international and regional implications.
Yes.
Remember, we are signatory to ECOWAS protocol. We are also signatory to AFCTA. So this first Nigeria policy would also have its own wider, broader implications. Let's take a last minute, 30 seconds input from EVC Naseni.
Well, my final comments would be, for Nigerians to understand that this Nigeria First policy isn't just about procurement, isn't just about products, but it's about people, because once you keep money within the economy of the country, you're going to create jobs, and we're not bringing aliens to come and, build these factories or run these factories, top 10 businesses in the country, most of them are Nigerian-owned businesses, and this is a strong signal that we must do everything, within. So it's all about people,
Absolutely, absolutely. The benefits, of course, are enormous, but we must also look at issues, that will arise in the course of implementation. Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, Mr. Khalil Suleiman Khalilu, joining us via Zoom. We thank you very much for your time and your perspectives. Let's also come back to the studio. DG Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, our own very good friend, a friend of the house, Dr. Adeboale Adedokun. We'd like to thank you as always. Anytime we call upon you, you're always obliging us your time. Thank you. Olusoji Akpankpa, co-founder, CEO, Convention on Business Integrity and incoming co-chair, non-state actors and Open Government Partnership OGP Nigeria. Thank you very much for your perspectives as well.
Thank you.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. Don't go away, please. We'll be right back.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
Ìjọba fún wa ní 75,000 NIN ní àti káàdì láti lọ gbà. Nígbà tí mo sì gbà, mo fi ṣe nǹkan tó dáa, mo ra oògùn nínú rẹ̀, mo ra oúnjẹ tí màá jẹ nínú rẹ̀, mo sì wọkọ̀ mi náà ń bẹ̀. A sì fi yòókù ṣe ọrọ̀ ajé pé ká tó máa rí dé bá. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba wa òkè.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
For the past 5 years or more, the world has started recognizing female filmmakers. Female filmmaking and filmmakers was not really a thing initially because it's still a male-dominated sector. But suddenly, women are being put in places that has been able to give us opportunities and open our minds to so many different and unique things that we have been behind the scenes and been deprived of. Now we've seen that this avenue has been presented for us. We are being recognized globally. When we go out there, female filmmakers are now being put among top 10 of everything that's happening in the world when it comes to filmmaking. So now when we have this kind of opportunities, all these kind of opportunities being presented to us, what do we do as female filmmakers? We are not going to say, oh, we failed at it. There's not been any form of failure. It was just about the right time, and the right time is now. Now that we have those platforms presented to us and the opportunities being presented to us, what do we do as female filmmakers? Do we get up, step up, combine forces, and work towards making sure that female stories are told the way that we want them to be told? Or do we just sit back and still be afraid to push forward? I am one of those people that I'm not afraid to push forward and to make sure that I'm telling the right stories that need to be told as a female filmmaker.
There's so much that females are doing right now. We have females in the box office, hitting the box office, and we have females producers now. So women are not just sent to do makeup or act. There are lots of women coming behind the scenes like myself and also doing great movies because we are good storytellers. We actually tell stories in great details and with a lot of soul and heart. So females in Nigeria are really evolving from just the people that are used in front of the cameras and doing makeup and welfare to directors, producers, cinematographers, and sound engineers. And that's amazing for me to see that in my lifetime.
What we realize, some of the biggest films out of Nollywood are from female, from the likes of Jade Oshibere, from Kemi Adetiba, Funke Akindele. The highest grossing film is from Funke Akindele. We've seen these people have actually taken they've taken the baton and they're actually thriving and putting us on the global map. I mean, for female cinematographers, what I want to encourage more people is that we should have more female people behind technical team. Like, it's not just the directors, like the fancy names. We need to encourage more females to actually take roles behind the scene, technical roles. We need more female in the gaffer department. We need more female in the sound department. Now we have more female editors, but we need more of that. What that does, encourages other people. You're not just going into the film industry as a makeup artist. You know that you will thrive if you decide to take on other roles that are technical, because you think that you give you a job. I tell people that it's not just about training people. Do they have pipeline to actually grow? Not just even train them, give them jobs. Let them grow. Let people know that it's possible for them to actually thrive in these roles.
The same way that I can go out there and combine with other top female filmmakers, and we can combine forces, partner, collaborate, and make bigger and greater things happen together. So I feel like this is the time. The world is seeing the power of female, and we have it is in our hands, and now we're making the very, very most of it as female filmmakers. Yeah.
Welcome back, and it's Good Morning Nigeria. Let's now turn our attention to two game-changing transport projects that promise to reshape how we all move around the vibrant, sometimes chaotic, of course, city of Lagos, always very energetic. And we have joining us from Lagos to shed more light on how these projects will transform commuting, engineer Mrs. Abimbola Akinajo, who is the managing director of Lamata. Engineer Akinajo, thank you for joining us.
For having me.
All right. So we're talking about two major transport initiatives. Please, could you share more light on this with us?
So thank you. The two major transport initiatives that we're embarking upon in Lagos are the quality bus corridors as well as the major transport interchanges. These are implementation of projects that have actually been identified within the Strategic Transport Master Plan. Within the Strategic Transport Master Plan that Lagos implements out of, we have identified transport interchanges that will help ensure easy transition from one mode to the other. So the interchange will encompass various modes and make it easy for commuters to be able to transfer from one to the other. The other one is the quality bus corridors. These are bus corridors that will really and truly feed major BRT routes. These are routes that will be public transport friendly, implemented to ensure that all infrastructure to support public transport exists along those routes. Also, it has been identified within our systems that we need a minimum of 13 of them within Lagos, and these are the first 4 that are being implemented as we speak today.
Many thanks, Mrs. Akinajo, for your opening comments about this initiative. Well, speak about the routes that you have talked about. That all of this would be implemented.
have 4 major routes that we're looking at. We're looking at Yanoiba to Igondo. Now, for us, it is to understand that those routes are not independent and just standing on their own. What Lagos is trying to do and quietly implementing is connectivity within its transport system. So there is the Igondo to Yanoiba. That will connect with the blue line that already exists in Lagos and is functional. There is Sele all the way to Ojo-Elegba. That will connect with the BRT that exists in Lagos. There is the one that goes from Ketu Alakpere to Mile 12. That also connects with the BRT that exists within Lagos. So for us, the vision of the system is to ensure connectivity from a public transport perspective. What that does is it makes public transport easier for people to ensure that they have the choice from beginning of their journey to the end of their journey, because connectivity is what ensures that I can start and finish with public transport and know that there is access for me. So those routes not only exist in its entirety because you can use them from origin to destination, but the more important thing is that they connect you with various other existing public transport systems in Lagos and other public transport modes. So for Mile 2, for instance, the Igondo, you can get the infrastructure for the interchange. The marina and Mile 2 has every mode of transportation within it. So it has water, it has road, and it has rail. So if you get to Mile 2, you can change using the ferry, you can change using rail, and you can use any of the other bus systems that exist.
Lagos, you would have experienced some challenges in all of this, putting all of this together. And speak about how you have, tried to solve some of those challenges, and how do you intend to get Lagosians aware of all of this? I mean, information is key. If you do not know, then of course you cannot take part in some of the benefits of this initiative.
Very much. So what we're doing here today is making people aware. So we're here to inform the people. We have done a lot of advocacy, in fairness, along the routes that we're doing the work. Part of the project in itself is advocacy, ensuring that people understand what we're doing. We've gone to the areas, we've had stakeholder engagements with people who will be affected. We've put out information to various public systems through various social media platforms. Lamata has it completely emboldened upon all of its social media handles. What we're doing, we put out a lot of information. We're here doing exactly the same thing and ensuring that people know what we're doing, as you say rightly, ensures that they are able to participate, partake, and then utilize once it is completed. The major challenge, as you have said when we started this program, is that Lagos is a congested city, and when we're trying to implement infrastructure in a city that's congested, we need to try to ensure that we keep people moving. So the traffic management is a big aspect of that, aside from advocacy, ensuring that we do not impact too negatively on the day-to-day travel of people of Lagos as they go about their business and we go about our business of implementing infrastructure.
When you mentioned Ketu Alakpere, it takes me back to my days in Lagos. And I don't know what Lagos is now, but I must say that what I hear in terms of commuting, Lamata is doing a good work. But in terms of these two initiatives, I'm just wondering, beyond the connectivity and maybe aesthetics, for instance, what do you hope to achieve?
So what we want, what Lagos is pushing, is this vision of an integrated intermodal transport system. Now, when we have a system like that, everybody in Lagos will make public transport a first choice. Accessibility for public transport is key. Predictability of public transport is key. The ability to know that when I get to a bus stop, I'll find a bus and it will take me thus far, and I can change and get onto another system, another mode, or another bus. The ability to give that kind of information to the people is key to delivering service. So we want to be able to have service that is first class and will be first choice for the people. It will reduce congestion, because when everybody in Lagos knows that I can use public transport, then the desire to take my car out and only carry 2 people in it will not be my first choice. I will be willing to get on a train, I'll be willing to get on a bus, I'll be willing to get on a ferry that will take me where I'm going, with the knowledge that I can predict my journey, I can travel safely, and I can be doing that in record time, because congestion is one of the things we're trying to reduce. And also emissions. Everybody's talking about environment today. The ability to reduce congestion says that we're reducing harmful emissions into our environment. So that also translates to health. But beyond that, there is also accessibility to business, to school, to hospital. The business itself of transportation employs a lot of people, so there will be job creation. So there's a whole gamut of positive things that these infrastructure will bring to Lagos. And the one thing everybody knows, that the economic drive of any city lies in its mobility, the ability to move people. So that in itself will say that we will look at developing the economy of Lagos by ensuring mobility is seamless and easy for the people of Lagos.
Fantastic, Mrs. Akinajo. As we begin to round up the conversation now, you talked about, positive things. Tell us, at the completed QBC stations and interchange hubs, what are the features, Lagosians are likely going to experience, using them? Would there be free Wi-Fi? I mean, just speak about some of the innovation you're bringing on board that will make it different from the normal or the usual public transport that Lagosians are used to.
So one of the things, the basic thing here is that we want to promote public transport. So one of the major things that we want to provide is the ability for a traffic management system that actually recognizes the buses. And as the buses come up to a traffic light, for instance, that traffic light responds to the fact that there is a bus or the number of buses waiting, and it will give priority. What that does is ensure that the public transport will actually get to its destination quickly. There is also the provision of intelligent transport systems that allow us in Lamata to be able to manage and monitor the public transport that exists in Lagos. So we can see how the driver is driving, we can see how safely he's driving, we can see that he's going along its routes and he's not driving too quickly. Those things exist for us to be able to monitor the system. And the bus drivers themselves will know that they are being monitored. Beyond that, there's safety for the people, because it will have all of the CCTV and all of that. But you said something just now about Wi-Fi. We already have Wi-Fi in a number of our public transport hubs, and it's something that will continue with the implementation of these two. But then, you said apart from aesthetics, we can't take that away from us. A number of the 2 interchanges that we have, the Marina interchange, for instance, will be a beautiful sight, because you can sit, you can just sit in front of the Marina and watch. But beyond that, we're also promoting non-motorized public transport system, i.e. non-motorized transport system that allows you to walk from your community. So if I'm looking at the Marina, for instance, all of the conurbation within Lagos Island, we're creating walkways and cycle paths. We're encouraging people to walk, we're encouraging people to cycle to major transport hubs. So it is not just that you're using a car, you're using the bus, or you're using a train or the ferry. You can also walk, and you can enjoy that experience, because we will create those paths that will make it possible for you to do that.
Question, and it's just about safety. I know in other developed countries where you have this kind of, bus corridors, the people feel safe. You talked about Ketu Alakbere Mile 2. These are areas that are prone to, I don't want to use the name, but what are the safety measures that you are putting in place in these areas?
It's about the ability to understand what's going on, and then the ability for the people to know what you're doing. So the advocacy helps us, engagement helps us, but beyond that, technology helps us. We're able to see what's going on. We have a control system within Lamata. Lagos State is developing a smart city system that encompasses all stakeholders. So the police can see, the enforcers can see, us transport providers can see, even the operators can see what is going on. And the ability to see and respond becomes so much easier because you are real time looking at what is going on your system. And that, for Lamata, we're not working by ourselves. We're working with the whole of Lagos State, the Ministry of Science and Technology. They're the ones championing the Smart City project of Lagos, and the ability for us to work not just with ourselves and also, security agencies like LASMA, the Traffic Management System, Lagos State Neighborhood Watch, and the police makes it obvious that when something happens, there is a way to bring quick response to it. And people actually feel safe with that. The ability to also know that when you're on a bus, if you're feeling some kind of way, you can call a number, text, or whatever. So communication is good.
Wonderful, fantastic. I think you deserve a round of applause, Mrs. Engineer Abimbola Akinajo. Of course, we wish you all the best and success in your initiatives. Mrs. Engineer Abimbola Akinajo, Managing Director of Lamata, joining us from Lagos. We'd like to thank you very much for your time.
All right, so that's much we can take on Good Morning Nigeria this Tuesday. Many thanks for being a part of it. To me and Ray John. Leave it locked on the NTA.
I'm Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak. Bye-bye for now.